song, pretty lady. Born to be angry, grip of the vice, click on the trigger, girl. Sip hard on ice, it's about time. Best to the right, you better know. My heart's your, go baby go. It's about time. I'm on a tightrope. Don't go. It's about time. It's about. All the years of paradise, paradigms paralyze us. You're crazy. All the cards you organize, shuffle twice in front of my eyes. Everybody needs what's so cold, girl. Lights, love, go, baby, go. It's about time. I'm on a tightrope. Don't go. It's about time. It's about.
Welcome back to the Alpha Touring Challenge. We have 4 rounds remaining in ATC15, and the first of those 4 here at Monza. But we aren't on the regular GP circuit, nor are we on the fabled combined circuit. This is the junior circuit here at Monza for a sprint challenge. 2 25-minute races lined up here today, and it is wet. If you haven't already been looking at the track, there are puddles everywhere. Qualifying, it was sputtering just before and throughout, and now the drivers have to contend with the remains here in the first race. There's a 13-car invert for the second race. No further rain expected, but the track is starting out quite wet. And now, looking at our starting grid for today, per usual in qualifying in the wet, we have Matthew Mayer up front on pole, just ahead of Polasek, demonstrating that he continues to be, I think, one of the best wet weather drivers in this series. Polasek sitting there still on the front row, still in position to do something, heading down into turn 1, a very wide berth into there. And then you have Schink P3 and Kyle Murray with a Delta pole starting all the way up in P4. What a lap from the 101. And that puts him in the top 5 to start this race. Zachary Liebold is 5th, Mike D'Almeida 6th, John Lazon 7th, and Logan McKenzie begins this race P8. Daniels, your Delta class championship leader, starts 9th. Now he is currently only 5 points ahead of JB DeJay in the championship fight, who starts all the way down in 20th today. Dave Thomas, their next closest competitor, starting 15th, but he is nearly 100 points off of that duo now. So he is looking to pick up some extra points in that fight. And now Tyler Long and even Chris McDonald are not that far off points-wise. There's still 4 rounds left, a lot of time for something to happen in that class. And in the Alpha class, this is one of those races. Last week, we already saw Polasek make a mistake. He made it all the way back to 3rd in the end. But it's rounds like this where conditions are dicey and he's not starting up front, where things could go wrong for him in this championship. Right now, he still holds a very solid lead with a couple of healthy drop weeks over Logan McKenzie and then Matthew Mayer. Ian Bertolucci rounds out the top 10. Zachary Bowman, Kyle Trost, Jess Rakowski, Brian Saab, and Dave Thomas finishing up the top 15. Then you have Long, Namayak, Gilbert, Hendricks, DJ, Lynn, Acatella, Rick Meyer, Darnell, Zepka, Clark, Mitchell. There's a little group of Alpha drivers that are kind of buried in the back of the field there. They are just ahead of Marcel Thomas. And then you have Kuo starting their first race in the Alpha Touring Challenge, and Soto in 32nd, also making their first appearance in the series. What a track to do it at. What kind of conditions are these to do it in? McAllister, McDonald down there in 31st, and then you have Beta and Barber rounding out the 35-car field for what is essentially a paperclip. Let's head down to the grid now, which of course is led by Matthew Mayer, but he is in an Audi today. So what is going on there at SRG? What are they cooking? We have about 20 seconds before this race kicks off. 25 minutes. And it does sound like they're revving up. The 12 will be leading them off. Kyle Murray did not make it to grid. So there will be a hole left there, immediately filled by Francois Shake. Oh no, a car off, and immediately in the background. That may have been someone on the dry tire. Mayer makes it to turn 1, still in the lead of this race. And now here they come down to turn 3, and this is where you see the Delta leader, John Daniels. He has inherited that lead, and Noah Namayak, he has been spun, but he manages to keep it on the track. That's contact between him and Chris McDonald and Connor Acatella. They're all coming together. Further up the field, there's a 2-wide situation between Ian Bertolucci, who's also in an Audi now. He has John Daniels up his inside, and we're coming to already the end of lap 1. And this is going to be, these laps are shorter than a minute. In the wet, I think they're, no, in the wet, they're still shorter than a minute. So this is going to be spicy. Bertolucci and Daniels are side by side, still on the straight. And now look at the brakes down into turn 1. They have to avoid all these painted lines as Logan McKenzie has gone wide. Second place in the championship, and I think he's avoided the wall, but now someone else has gone wide. Lewis Gilbert and Tyler Long was slowed there, but I think someone else additionally on top of McKenzie went off. McKenzie has rejoined in front of Namayak and Rick Meyer, who are 2 wide coming out of turn 3, and Namayak's going to go wide. Matthew Mayer still has the lead of this race, but one of the championship contenders has now dropped down the order. McKenzie all the way down in 17th. Saab and Al Rijla were involved in crashes there. They are on pit road, and John Lazon was that other car that went wide. Heavy front-end damage to him. It looks like McKenzie kept it out of the wall and has now gone around Kuo. And up ahead, Acatella and Lynn. That's Lynn, excuse me, not McDonald. Side by side here. I forgot McDonald was further down the order, and they are going to stay side by side down the straightaway, and we're going to see Honda versus Veloster Power on their way to turn 1. You just see how Rijla is Oh! Acatella gathering it up. He had a big slide on entry there. Now he's side by side with Damon Mitchell, and McKenzie is on the back of these two. Mitchell will not keep the nose in. And McKenzie will look to the right of Mitchell in response. John Daniel still leads the Delta class right now. You see Lynn, who's running 5th in that class, going defensive on Acatella, as McKenzie trying to finish this move on Mitchell. And against the Audi, this can be a tough proposition on these straightaways. I think a couple of drivers have switched to the Audi today specifically to take advantage of that, maybe the nature of the last couple tracks, but they will be stuck with those cars for the rest of the season unless they want to take a penalty. Up ahead of these two, you have Long and DJ battling for the podium in the Delta class. And DJ is going to go on the inside, but not going to beat Long there. McKenzie will be able to get around Mitchell, I think, and he does close the door there. So back to the overall lead of the race. There is Matthew Mayer in the all-black Audi for SRG, and he currently leads this race. He's one mistake away from not leading it, though. And Francois Schink is hanging on at the back of these two. And you see down the straight they go, and a little wiggle when they go over those big painted lines. And Okuo's gone wide at the, that's, wow, I've forgotten my Monza corner names, Parabolica. And that has lost him a couple positions. And up ahead, McKenzie has gone past Acatella, and Trost and DeJay are still too wide. Again, DeJay trying to make the move, but cannot get the job done. And behind, Rick Meyer and Soto. Soto making their first start in the Alpha Touring Challenge, trying to send it up the inside of the 89. He's on the wet stuff. He's going to go wide, and he may lose out to today's other first-time starter. Down the straightaway they go on that Audi power. Polasek is very close to Mayer up ahead, so let's check in on the battle for the lead. He may have to go defensive here. Mayer on the inside, making sure to guard against the one, and then gets around that painted line before they get on the brakes. Let's check in on JB DeJay, battling for third place, second place with Kyle Trost. And again, he'll try up the inside into turn one. It seems like if you can hold the outside by the time you get to the apex, it is the better line to be on. And DeJay slow on that apex for Lin and Long. And McKenzie is pulled up to the back of this group. Lin and Long going side by side here. And Long's going to go wide. And that will open the door for McKenzie to go around him. Up ahead, John Daniels is still, he's knocking on the door of Mike DeAlmeida at this point. He is keeping up with the leaders in this one. Micah Hendricks and Ian Bertolucci are going side by side out of the Parabolica. There's that corner name. And Bertolucci will get that position in the 51. Behind them, there's DeJay and Trost. And Lynn going to the inside of the track to defend against McKenzie. And they're going to go too wide down the straight. And Polasek's gone wide at turn one, our championship leader. And here he is trying to rejoin, and he's gonna have to watch. There goes Logan McKenzie. And can he get back on track here? No, there goes Rick Meyer. He'll have to rejoin all the way at the back. There goes Gareth McAllister, and your points leader is rejoining the track in 24th. Back to DeJay and Kyle Trost. That is a big shakeup in the Alpha Championship. Matthew Zebka going wide in the background there from what I'm seeing. And into Parabolica. DeJay will finally complete this pass and get P2 in the Delta class. And for further behind, you have Angel Soto going side by side with Chris McDonald, who is also in an Audi now. And that is Namayak ahead of them and McAllister behind. So where's Polasek? He is 2.3 seconds off the tail of this group. And back to that Jason Lynn getting passed by Connor Acatella here around the outside into turn one. Acatella putting a foot on the grass, trying to finish this one off. Meanwhile, McKenzie trying to go around Kyle Trost up ahead, trying to send it up the inside. He didn't quite get alongside, but Trost had a bad exit as a result. And now I think he'll have a chance going down into the Parabolica. Meanwhile, John Daniels is forcing Mike DeAlmeida to think about a defensive move. He's showing, I think, that he wants to be in that Alpha class next season. He wants to win this championship as McKenzie gets that move done on Trost. Matthew Mayer's lead seems pretty secure now. He's broken free of Schink, 1.7 seconds. Looking for his third win on the season, which would be a career best. As Mayer continues to go up the ATC ranks. There aren't very many rungs left on that ladder. You could argue there's really only 2 left. And he's knocking on the door of one of them right now. This will be a big points day for him against McKenzie. Polasek is on the front stretch now, and there's a lot of cars in front of him. How will this play out? A little bit of contact. I think they're going to keep it together with contact between the two fresh drivers. And now Polasek trying to get on the outside. Taking it easy here. A little bit of flashing. He's gone around McAllister and Mike. And now a little bit of come together with Kuo at the apex. The championship leader, though, still doesn't look like he has damage on his car. I honestly cannot believe it. So let's look back here. Trost is still doing a good job of keeping Acatella behind him. Lynn has got Mitchell and Long knocking on the door. Your Delta leader, John Daniels, heading into turn 1. He has Zachary Bowman behind him. Old Delta rival. Bowman won the Delta class last season. Now Daniels, and it seems like he is positioned to be in a similarly tense battle. It was Bowman versus Alriggio. This season, right now, it's looking like Daniels versus DeJay, and Bowman's getting a big boost here. That's a lapped car. That's John Lazon, who has rejoined and is he's just bump drafting Bowman for fun because he can't pass him. He'll definitely get an impeding penalty if he interrupts this fight. He's fast enough that you could argue that Bertolucci doesn't need to go around him, but once Bertolucci gets close enough to make a move, I'm sure he'll let him by. Now Bowman is going to the inside of Daniels here, and Daniels has gone to the outside. This is interesting. I wonder if he's trying to let Bowman by, or if he thinks the outside line is better. Here we go on the painted lines. Bowman got squirrely under braking, and it pushed him into Daniels' car. And that's the danger of being on the outside in these wet conditions, is you're always going to be the person that gets leaned on, and now he's going to lose out to Bertolucci as well. And Hendricks is looking for blood in this fight. He's got some front left damage that he's nursing himself. And meanwhile, further back here, battle for 8th in the Delta class. You have Soto up the inside of McAllister. A little bit of contact, but McAllister working that outside. They're going to be even coming through this corner too. Down the back straightaway. They're still going to be even. We're going to bounce up to Daniels here as they're coming out of Parabolica, because now Micah Hendricks is up his inside. And while they're going down that corner, we'll check in on this corner, and Soto will finish the pass on McAllister. So back to Daniels, who's going to yield to Hendricks as Marcel Thomas lets them both through under blue flags. And DeJay has McKenzie working his outside, and around the outside goes McKenzie, and that will be him back up into 9th. And he's now 8 seconds off of John Daniels with 12 minutes to go. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get close enough to recover that position. Would probably only be one position at most, unless more fighting happens up here, as Lazon has gone around Mike De Almeida, who I think made a minor mistake was what happened there. And now this whole group is very, very close together. There is Bertolucci. Will he go defensive on Hendricks? It looks like Lazon is pulling to the side now to get out of the way of most of this. And he will go to the back of that group. And DeJay and McKenzie are too wide again. McKenzie has not dispatched DeJay yet, and this will make it very difficult for him to catch any more cars, because he hasn't even gotten around this car. Pinning him to the inside of the track. The 621 is still there in the puddles, but now McKenzie's gotten the job done. And there are 6 cars stacked up behind these guys, including Trost and Lynn, who are scrapping for that Delta podium. And those Delta podiums, they matter because they give you those bonus Delta points. And those bonus Delta points are the reason John Daniels is leading the Delta Championship right now. DeJay actually has 7 more points than him in regular points, but then Daniels beats him out in Delta points as Jason Lynn goes wide in the background, allowing Tyler Long to go through. And heading down to turn 1 now. Does Mike De Almeida go for a move on Zachary Bowman? He's not able to get it done. So now looking to this group. Acatella not close enough to make DeJay think about it. And McKenzie, I think, is now firmly away as DeJay goes a little wide. And that will invite Acatella into the fight. A little touch there, but they kind of have to be that close. It's such a narrow spot. And up ahead now. Whoa, Bowman may have made an error, and he's caught in the wet stuff. And that is going to cause him to lose out to 3 cars down the straightaway. But it could have been worse as he manages to prevent himself from getting dragged fully off track. Acatella now ahead of DeJay. And it seems like a lot of overtaking, a lot of good racing taking place so far today. And these conditions are obviously catching some people out as Soto has gone to the pits and Marcel Thomas has gone to the pits. And we have a battle here for 4th place. Mike Delmita defending from Ian Bertolucci. Micah Hendricks and Zachary Bowman are still right there. This is on board with Bowman. And meanwhile behind, Kyle Trost has lost out in turn 1. He's going to get a little nudge to Damon Mitchell. And as they head out of turn 3, he'll have Mitchell on his inside. And meanwhile, down to Parabolica, Bertolucci has Micah Hendricks all over his back bumper. But they managed to get through there okay. So we look to this group, and Trost and Mitchell and Long are all right there on top of each other. Long and Trost now teammates, so they will, I imagine, be taking it as easy as they can. Meanwhile, down to turn 1, we check back in on this group. Bertolucci stuck on the outside now, and Hendricks will move up into 5th, and a little bit of stacking up there, but Hendricks is up 14 spots in this one now. And no movement here as Mitchell stays in front of this group. Matthew Mayer is still your race leader. This blimp needs to zoom that camera in a little bit. But it gives you an idea of how small the track is and how big of a lead Mayer has built up, honestly, because you're going to see him come off the final corner right there. He's the all-black Audi. There is Francois Schink. And wait for it. There's Zachary Liebold. And speaking of Zachary Liebold, he is yet to pick up a podium in the Alpha Touring Challenge. Polasek has fallen by the wayside. McKenzie's fallen by the wayside. And he has moved up those 2 positions after qualifying an already stellar 5th. He's looking to bag his first podium off of just bringing this one home. And he's been faster than everyone else in these conditions other than Schink and Mayer. And speaking of Polasek, let's see where he is right now. He's 19th, a 13-car invert. If he gets back into the invert, it may not even be a drop week for him. It would do not even be a bad drop week for him. So in the end, if he can get back to that invert, this day may not be over. We got to go back here. Hendricks not having to defend Bertolucci right now. But Polasek, he's running 19th. Zepka, Rickmeyer, Darnell, Lynn, Trost, Long. Those are the cars he's got to get through. He's only 4 seconds off of Long, and he's got 8 minutes. He's got basically 9 minutes. I think this is very doable for the championship leader to recover here and get back into this one. He may finish 13th or 12th in this race, but it would probably be an automatic win for him in the next race if he's able to bank it. Up ahead, he has Rickmeyer and Zepka battling for position into turn 1. And they're going to go side by side here, and this will slow Polasek. And on the apex, he'll look to the right side of Rickmeyer. And out of turn 3, he makes the move on the 89. Meanwhile, Bertolucci looking to the inside in the Parabolica. He's got some right front damage now. I'm not sure if he was carrying that before. But Bowman senses that Bertolucci slow out of the corner. He gets a great exit. And now we have a battle going down to turn 1. Mike Delmita has left this group in the dust. But it will now be a battle between Bowman and Bertolucci into turn 1 as Hendricks pull ahead. Will it be 3 wide into turn 1? Bowman has to back out of that, but Bertolucci's still on the outside. He could get at least one position here. And he will finish the job on Bertolucci. And in the meantime, there's your Delta leader, John Daniels, and Matt Zepka has had an error. He is on the exit of turn 1. I heard an impact with the wall, but it looks like he's okay. And he will have lost out to Polasek. That makes Polasek's job easier. And Richtmeyer and McDonald. And then next up on the menu for him is Darnell. Then you have that group of Lynn, Trost, and Long. And you see, even though the track is fairly dry, there is a dry line. And they're on wet tires. Some of these drivers are still running, having to run their windshield wipers because there's still just that much spray. Bowman not able to do anything to Hendricks on that go around. And there goes that group of DeJay, Mitchell, Long, and Trost. And the battle for the Delta podium is still very much on. DeJay doesn't have a huge lead over Long and Trost. Long looking for another Delta podium, another solid points day, and he continues to put himself in the conversation for a late run at the Delta title. I think what he's really doing is setting himself up to be one of the favorites going into ATC15. But he is an outside shot, a dark horse, if you will, for this one. He needs some things to go his way with how far off of DeJay and Daniels he is. Into turn one, Bowman is free of Bertolucci behind, so he may choose to attack Hendricks here. Into turn one, into the back of the 73, and Bertolucci will go even wider. Can he keep it on track? He does. They're all pushing it here as the track gets drier and drier. Polasek into turn one, making another key pass in his battle up to the back up to the front. Oh, under the brakes, Darnell going a bit wide in defense, but they avoid contact. And Polasek's into 16th. He only needs to dispatch this group in front of him. Lynn, Trost, Long. 5 minutes to go for your championship leader. 5 minutes to go for Matthew Mayer, chasing his 5th career victory, 3rd this season, trying to establish himself as a championship favorite next season. He already is a championship favorite, I think, season to season. But he's really bringing himself on level and even surpassing McKenzie in some ways these days. Whereas in past seasons, it felt like over the course of races, McKenzie would usually get him. This season especially, he's pulled even and beaten McKenzie a lot of times. And here today, you see McKenzie qualify 8 in the wet. Mayer qualifies first, and he's banked it, while Polasek and McKenzie make mistakes. He just needs a season of that, and he could be champion. And hell, if something more happens to Polasek in this season, he could be champion. Bowman still choosing to not attack Hendricks while I waffle on about that championship. In the Delta Championship, DeJay and Daniels are currently kind of just holding station 1-2, though Daniels will open the gap. He's got 2 cars in between him and DeJay. McKenzie is 2.5 seconds off of him right now. He could catch him by the end of this. DeJay will be hoping he will. Bowman again not going for the move into turn one. I think he may be saving it until closer to the end. Doesn't want to open himself up to attack from Bertolucci. I would always say take the opportunity when you get it, because you never know when the other driver's going to suddenly figure it out and not give you another opportunity the rest of the race. He's 3/10 off the back of Hendricks right now. This is the battle for the top 5. The top 3 looks pretty set. Hell, the top 4 looks pretty set. And we have Richtmeyer pushing it a little wide there, still holding on to 6th in the Delta class. Been a good run from him so far. 5 positions gained. 12 positions gained for the car behind him, Chris McDonald. And McDonald's teammate Jason Lynn under attack from Michael Polasek. And Polasek will go through as Lynn pops back in right there. And now Polasek only has to go through 2 more cars as Bowman goes for it on Hendricks into turn 1. And he does the job. And Hendricks goes defensive to make sure that Bertolucci can't get by him. And Bowman has, what a move, gotten himself in the 5th. Bertolucci losing out as they go through the 2-3 complex. Hendricks holding on to the back of Bowman. This is not over yet. 2 minutes left in this race. And this is probably 2 laps to go for these guys. Mayer Yes, this is 2 laps to go now. So on the penultimate lap for the 12, Polasek, his championship rival, making another key pass, this time on Michael Trost, and he has 2 laps to get around his teammate Tyler Long. He knows this is huge. If he manages to pull this off, he could hold on to a nice cushion in his championship behind Kyle Trost and Jason Lynn, going side by side. Bowman having to go defensive on Hendricks. Down the straightaway they come. And in the background, you see the rest of the Delta class along with Polasek emerging onto the back straight. And I think Polasek's going to make the move as Hendricks makes the move on Bowman. And they come to the white flag. Polasek is on the inside of Long and he's in the invert. Matthew Mayer into turn 1 now. Bowman and Hendricks coming down the front straight. Hendricks will hold on to that position. McKenzie has caught the back of John Daniels here, but may run out of time. For Matthew Mayer, it couldn't have been an easier drive after Polasek ended up off track at turn 1. All the 12 had to do was keep it on track. And here at Monza Junior for SRG, Matthew Mayer will collect his 3rd victory of the season and his 5th overall across the line in an Audi. Matthew Mayer wins the first race at Monza Junior today, and Zachary Liebold is on the podium for the first time in his ATC career. What a drive from him, and Francois Schink finishes off that podium in P2. And John Daniels and Logan McKenzie were very close across the line, but Daniels ekes him out and holds on to the Delta win in the first race today. That is huge as the Delta Championship leader continues his campaign to win this championship. His closest rival, JB DeJay, comes home 3 positions back. Overall, just 1 position back in class, though, as he takes that 2nd spot on the Delta podium. And there is Tyler Long, who comes home with another Delta podium. Is that 5 in a row? He is on a tear. We are about to bring you the 2nd race of the day. I'm sure it's going to contain just as much action, so stay tuned. Well, 1 race down, 1 race to go here at Monza Junior. And if the first race was any indication, this will be another very difficult affair for these drivers. The track does not look like it is completely drained or dried out. But I believe they will be on the dry tire for this one. There's just puddles here and there. So it will be interesting to see how they handle this one. Your championship leader, Michael Polasek, is on pole position for this race. And alongside him will be Damon Mitchell. JB DeJay will start 3rd. It will be instrumental for his championship hopes to hold on to that position over John Daniels, who won the first Delta race today. And he is starting 6th for this 2nd race. And now we are just a couple moments away from gridding finishing up. Tyler Long is your 3rd place Delta driver for the start of this race, but he has Lynn and Trost starting right behind him. And then Acatella is starting 4th. There he is. And McKenzie is 5th. So he should be able to jump up to the front here relatively quickly. Your winner from the last race, Matthew Mayer, starting 13th. What can he do? He showed great pace in that Audi. Can he get back up to the front this time? Now we wait for Michael Polasek to lead us off here at Monza Junior for the 2nd and final time today. And we are go here at Monza Junior, and Damon Mitchell is trying to give our championship leader a run for his money. Down into turn one he goes, side by side with the one, but Polasek will leak him out in the end. And now a huge gallop of cars going through the turn 2-3 complex behind. They all manage to figure that out for the most part. Oh, there's a big crash there, and that is going to involve Kuo and Thomas, McAllister, Gilbert, Saab looks like he got picked up in that. And look at this gaggle of cars going down the back straight. McKenzie already making the move on DeJay. And Mayer going around Zachary Liebold there. So that shakeup in the Delta class, what that did, let's see, Dave Thomas is running 24th right now. Polasek across the line. He is your leader for the first lap today. McKenzie still back there behind Mitchell with DeJay and Acatella fighting for position directly behind. And Acatella's going to sweep around the outside of DeJay. And here they come again through that narrow spot. And that puddle is very, very big right now. The drivers are managing it, especially once they get onto that back stretch. And these puddles should hopefully disperse a little bit as the race continues on. Polasek already in a league of his own up there. And DeJay still stuck side by side, and his championship rival is right behind him. Look at this. He's got Zachary Bowman looking on his outside, looking on his inside. Back to the outside. Daniels collided with Francois Schenck back there. Oh no! DeJay turned! But he and Bowman come together on the straightaway. And who else is collected? It looks like Francois Schenck was collected as well. There he is with severe damage. And that changes the makeup of the Delta Championship, where DeJay looked like he was trying to break even with Daniels today. Now Daniels is going for a double win with none of his rivals anywhere close to him. These are the kinds of races that cause that championships turn on. And I think we may have just seen the exact moment that it turns. Bertolucci staying ahead of Acatella here. Damon Mitchell has still kept McKenzie behind. And 3 minutes into this one, heading on to lap 4. Mitchell is without a career podium, but in that Audi, he may find defending a little easier than usual. What is this? 3 wide for 18th. Darnell up the inside and contact across the nose of Dave Thomas. Thomas and Rick Meyer continue on unscathed. And we go back to the battle for P2. And as I was saying, while that Audi may make it a little easier to defend, he can also use the wet track to his advantage. And there's Lazon, who will have 14th delivered to him as he goes up the inside of Zepka. And now Rick Meyer trying to go up the inside of Dave Thomas. Rick Meyer has been quick in wet conditions in the past. And now McKenzie looking for a move down the front straightaway into turn 1. And Bertolucci will be threatening him if he doesn't get this move done or it doesn't slot back into space. And Bertolucci is very much a threat. McKenzie does slot back ahead, and now Acatella will try and take advantage of this stack up. And you know who they're all losing time to? It's Matthew Mayer. He is sitting in 8th place right now, cruising up to the back of these guys. He wants 2 podiums in a row, and he wants to score more points than any other driver this weekend. This Friday. Into Parabolica they go, and Hendricks is making a move on John Daniels. This is for 6th place, but Daniels is currently 3 seconds and 5 spots ahead of Jason Lynn, who's P2 in the Delta class. He does not have a whole lot to worry about here, and they will go side by side. I don't think McKenzie's close enough to do anything to Mitchell here, unless it's a big sin. And no, he's just having to defend against Bertolucci, who is again working that outside line. And again, he's kept his nose in there. The 04 having to defend. But that puddle on the left side is so tough to go through. And again, Bertolucci loses out to the 55. And Mitchell is starting to run away. Can he get a hold of his first career podium here? He's keeping the 6-time champion at bay along with guests. And that guest list is getting longer and longer. Matthew Mayer's made his way around John Daniels. Acatella and Bertolucci are going to go side by side into the Parabolica. And Hendricks is knocking on the door, but it's Matthew Mayer who wants a peek inside. He gives Acatella a big bump draft down the straightaway. And look at this array of cars. And I think McKenzie's giving Acatella the slipstream as well. They come into the corner 3 wide. Oh, Bertolucci sideways. He collects nobody. It's incredible. And he's unharmed. How did that happen? He will rejoin in the back behind Kyle Trost. And Mayer will say, thank you very much. I'll go into the top 5 now because he's peeking up the inside of Connor Acatella. And then it's Micah Hendricks and Logan McKenzie and then Damon Mitchell. I think he will easily dispatch of these drivers. There's Jess Rakowski working on the outside of Matthew Zepka. It looks like her nose has been punched in a little bit. And down to turn 1. Mayer, will he get wrecked? Oh no! He nearly spun himself trying to make room, and in the end, it results with him being behind Acatella because he had to back out of that, and that would have probably been his fault because he was just boxed in and he was trying to force Acatella to let him out. He nearly had a massive high-speed crash as a result, which definitely would have ended, I think, any chances he had at this championship. Right now, it's an outside shot for him, a medium-range shot for McKenzie, and I think Schink may be a little too far out, especially with what's happened to him in this race. Zepka and McDonald side by side into the final corner. And this is Zepka trying to move up into 13th, but it will be the Honda versus the Audi down the straight, and that's where things get troublesome. Meanwhile, into turn 1, thank you, cameraman, for the whiplash. Mayer going back around Acatella, and they can't help but make a little more contact before saying goodbye to each other. And here is the battle between McDonald and Rakowski and Zepka. And Zepka finishes the move, and Rakowski wants in, but there's really only one line through those corners right now. And Mitchell is once again under pressure from McKenzie, who's running out of time with Mayer closing in behind. He's also a Veloster amongst Audis right now. Here's Daniels now having to defend against Mike D'Almeida, and you have the podium sitter from the last race, Zachary Liebold, just behind. McKenzie will go for this move on Damon Mitchell this lap. He's on his right side, not very far up alongside him, but into turn 1. Mitchell sweeps around the outside. He's gone a bit deep. Can he keep a hold of it? He manages to keep it on track, but what he's done is he's slowed up Micah Hendricks, and he has perfectly allowed Matthew Mayer to sweep by both of them, and that puts Mayer on a crash course with his championship rival, Logan McKenzie. And Rakowski has had an incident. She's gone off track and has had to tow the car, so she's out of that battle. And now we look in on Jason Lynn, who has John Lazon going around him. Lazon up into P11. And Lynn is just trying to hold on to this Delta podium. He's got 6 seconds on his teammate, Chris McDonald. And then Tyler Long is P2 up ahead, and he is still embroiled. Or not embroiled, but he's looking at this group up ahead of him and hoping to get embroiled in it. Mike D'Almeida is going for a move on John Daniels into turn 1. And the O2 won't fight that too much. We've seen, and again, he will stay ahead of Liebold. We've seen this behavior from Daniels a little bit in the past where he's not, he doesn't fight the alpha drivers all that much. He definitely plays the points game when it comes to the Delta class. And I think, that's smart driving. That's part of why he is the championship leader. He's Last season, he was involved in a lot of incidents, whether they were his fault or weren't his fault. And I think that the difference maker this season has been his ability to stay out of that kind of stuff, especially in races like this, or days like this. Look at this gaggle of cars. But he may try and let Liebold go here, but then he's got Long right on his back bumper, and Long, fresh off getting his first career win, will be happy to take a second one straight off of John Daniels if he can. Hendricks goes around his teammate Mitchell, and that promotes him to fourth. And he'll hope that Mayer and McKenzie start fighting so that he can get involved in the scrap for the podium again. Right now, those two running away with it. And speaking of running away with it, there's our race leader, Michael Polasek. He is going to soften the blow of his mistake in the first race. And keeping it on track today, he will easily come home with this victory. And as he crosses the line, there is the rest of the field behind. And Connor Acatella is going side by side with Damon Mitchell to try and demote Mitchell back to 6th place. And Mitchell will go on the inside to defend. But I think this outside line is better. And if Acatella can hook it up, he's got his teammate on his inside there to back him up. But De Almeida will fall back into place. And look at this, Dave Thomas and Chris McDonald scrapping for 4th place in the Delta class. And Thomas will come out ahead there. And Rick Meyer's been on the back of Thomas this whole time, keeping up with him. Now going to try and follow him through on McDonald. Meanwhile, Logan McKenzie, he's under some pressure from Matthew Mayer. There are battles developing everywhere on track. These guys coming off the final corner. Mitchell, Acatella, De Almeida, and Liebold all stacked up behind. And McKenzie will have to go defensive here. And remember what we said about that outside line. Mayer sweeps around it, and it's no problem for the 12. He's into P2. And look at this. Acatella's going to go up the right side of Mitchell, and he's in the right position now. He can sweep around, puts Mitchell in the wet stuff. A little contact from the 6. It's a 1-2 punch from Yellow Flag Motorsports. And Mitchell has his front fascia dispatched of. Lazarn and John Daniels go around him as well. Zachary Liebold sneaks through. Tyler Long is trying to make this overtake so he can keep up with the Delta leader. And there goes the front fascia of that Audi. All right, that all came to a head pretty quickly. And Mayer in that Audi now, will he have to defend as voraciously as McKenzie has? For now, McKenzie hasn't been able to get as close to him. The only thing on that Audi is an anti-B4D sticker from what I'm seeing. Daniels holding on to this lead ahead of Long right now. Mitchell's gotten in between these two, but this is a very delicate situation in the Delta class. This could end up with either of these leaders dispatched as Lazarn getting loose ahead. He scares the Delta leaders quite a bit there, but staying on track and staying, I think he's behind Tyler Long. So now Long has another Alpha driver there, interrupting his attempt to get up to Delta leader John Daniels. And Jason Lynn has caught on to the back of this group. He is also in contention for this Delta lead. Zepka and Lazan fighting for position directly behind him into turn 1. And as they come down there, it will be Zepka stuck on that inside line. But Lazan going a bit wide, so Zepka will hold on to the position. And Polasek's lead now 5.5 seconds, and Mayer is not cutting into that really at all. He has about the same pace as the leader. If he were on Polasek, he'd give him a fight. If he were within 1 second of Polasek, he'd give him a fight. But I think this race is functionally over from the race for the lead. So if McKenzie gets close enough, I imagine he's going to take any chances he gets. Behind that group, Acatella and Diamita chased by Zachary Liebold. And then Tyler Long dealing with Damon Mitchell and Matthew Zepka. As John Daniels runs away, he now is in a bit of a worrying situation here. It's starting to look like Mitchell is losing touch with the Delta leader. He got back ahead of Long, but now Long is watching John Daniels get away from the both of them. Liebold trying to get back into contention for a top 5. Can't get around either of these teammates. And there goes Long. He's making the move on the 27. The 27 trying to keep him pinned to the inside of the track. And he will lose out on the exit of the corner. And here comes Matthew Zepka. There's still 10 minutes in this race. A lot of time for this stuff to change for these guys. And into turn 1, speaking of changing, Mike Delmina and maybe Zachary Liebold making the move into turn 1. He has to tuck back in behind the 55. And on the back straight they go, and Liebold's gone wide. We've seen that a few times today. And Zepka's going to do it. And that is going to be at the chagrin of Long, who just wants these Alpha drivers to get a move on. He goes to the outside of the 490, and he is now 1.5 seconds off the back of John Daniels. Mayer's going to have to go defensive on this lap. McKenzie looks to the inside. He'll have to try and make that inside line work. And on the brakes, you see in the wet stuff, he's going to get alongside the 12, but the 12 will have the advantage through these corners, and McKenzie will not be able to keep the nose in. Very tough to get alongside, but here comes Micah Hendricks. He will be getting involved soon, and Long again trying to go around Zepka. And through turn 3, Zepka staying ahead. Daniels is coming back to those guys a little bit. But in the end, still 2 cars between P1 and P2. 8 minutes to go here at Monza Jr. McKenzie and Mayer scrapping for the final podium places here in the Alpha class. Hendricks trying to get involved there. He's got a bent wing, actually. I wonder how that happened. Oh, he's got heavy rear damage, actually. He's about 8/10 off these guys. I think he's slightly off their pace, but if they fight, he's going to keep up with them pretty easily. Race leader Michael Polasek has gone around Mitchell Richtmeyer. 7 minutes to go, and we are about to tick over to lap 21. Went off track, was all the way down in 24th at one point. He was stationary on the outside of turn 1 for a good 10 seconds. Just absolutely painful stuff. And he has turned this day around. It is a true champion's drive from Polsek thus far. As McKenzie goes for another move on Mayer, and he sends it up the inside. Can he finish the move? Mayer's going to over-under him immediately, and he just sent it a little too hard, and Mayer said, all right, you can do that, thank you very much, and I'll take that back. And meanwhile, in the background, Liebold going too wide with Acatella all the way through turns 2 and 3. A lot of good action, a little bit of touching. They managed to avoid certain death, and Liebold tucks back in. Waiting for Parabolica. He looks right at the last moment, but it's a feint. And Acatella is not going to fall for that one. Oh, and now he's going to get a bit wide, and that's going to be slightly wet up there. And now Zepka and Mitchell are scrapping. Daniels is still within range, but now with 6 minutes left and Ian Bertolucci on the scene, Tyler Long is seeing his chances at victory start to whittle away here. With JB Dejay dispatched, Long, if he can win this race, can become a little less of a dark horse in this championship fight, a little more of a bright horse. Matthew Mayer having to go defensive maybe in Parabolica against McKenzie as they turn in here, and there's a little bit of contact maybe. The 04 right into the back of the 12. They're on top of each other in this fight for P2. 5 minutes to go. Long and Mitchell, look at this. Long working the outside of Damon Mitchell. Now he's lost out to Zepka. Long trying to clear him as quick as he can without too much contact, and Jason Lynn flashing him up ahead. And Lynn, he'll have a good view of this going down to turn 1. But Ian Bertolucci will have an even better view as they go on the brakes. Long's on that better outside line, but there's really not a puddle there on the inside anymore. And Mitchell's able to take advantage of that. And I think we're starting to see now maybe the inside line will be the better way around that part of the track. And that demotes Long back into 11th overall. Daniels will have to deal with Zepka soon, so he'll come back to them, but he's now 1.3 seconds ahead of Damon Mitchell. Polsek crosses the line, and Matthew Mayer will cross the line again under some pressure from McKenzie. I'm not sure he's close enough to do something on this lap. He's in the wet stuff there. And on the brakes, not close enough to the 12. But Ian Bertolucci's close enough to Long, who goes to the outside here and under the brakes, looking for 3 wide. The 51 up the middle. He backs out of that one very wisely, and Long will sleep around the outside. He's learned from his mistakes, and this time he gets the job done on the 27, and he's off to go chase after the Delta leader with 3.5 minutes to go here at Monza Junior. Speaking of the Delta leader, there is Matthew Zepka on the back bumper of the 02. They're going to Parabolica. Zepka's not close enough to do anything here. Mitchell feints behind Long, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to really do anything. McKenzie will again be close enough on the straight. Under the brakes, just not close enough to get something done on Mayer. And it's been a stellar defense ever since taking that second place away from McKenzie. And now Bertolucci is going to try and go around the 27. Oh, has he gone deep? One of them's gone deep, and it's Bertolucci. Foot in the grass, and Lynn will go around as a result. Mayer is under pressure. He got a bad exit onto the back straight. McKenzie's on the outside into Parabolica. This is his best chance in a while, but it's going to be tough. Mayer is right there, able to lean on him, but he doesn't even have to do that as he clears McKenzie before they get to the exit of the corner. Just a couple minutes to go. They will again surely scrap down to turn 1. And these guys have developed into one of the, I think one of the best rivalries this series has seen in a long time. They're always scrapping with each other this season. And now it is no different. 2 minutes to go for P2. Polasek 7 seconds up the road. Rick Meyer will let them go, but Mayer says, no, I'm not letting you go. Give me all the slipstream you got. We're coming to the white flag, and I need what I can get. They may not be coming to the white flag. I think it's going to be 2 to go. Polasek out of the final corner. It will be 2 laps to go here at Monza Junior. And Long has cleared Mitchell. Zepka has cleared Daniels. There's nothing to separate the 2 Delta leaders except 1.4 seconds. Daniels may have done enough to secure the double victory. Chris McDonald's gone wide at turn 1. That was in front of the leader, I think, or close to it. And Noah Namayak will go by as a result. He's a lap down. So I think in the end, McDonald not losing out to too much as a result of that mistake. McKenzie a little far off of Mayer here, now a half second. And flashing traffic to let them know, to let them go through. Michael Polasek, he has won 6 races so far this season. A 7th race would be absolutely disgusting. And he is going to do just that. He's got 1 lap to go before he can bring it home. Not very many 7-win seasons in the history of this series. And in the end, I think there's only 3 names that have ever pulled off a 7-win season. And those names are Wojciech Savidovic, Michael Polasek, and the Slug himself. Down the back straightaway, Polasek is about to demonstrate to all of his championship rivals why he is about to become a 4-time ATC champion. He's got 3 races to go, and he has excellently pulled off one here at Monza Junior. He gets the win in race 2. Fantastic recovery after race 1. Matthew Mayer finishes his defense and brings home the 2nd place on the podium ahead of Logan McKenzie. Hendricks, D'Almeida, Liebold wrap that one up, and then John Daniels at the line side by side with Matthew Zepka, and again a photo finish with an Alpha driver. This while he wins the Delta race. This time he loses to Zepka, but he beats Long by 1.7 seconds. Long with another podium on an incredible streak in the middle of this season. And Lynn picks up what I think is his first Delta podium of the season, and that is an incredible drive from him. Dave Thomas 4th in that class, Trost 5th. There's your race winner, Michael Polasek. He may not have been pole man Polasek the last 2 weeks, but he is still very much going to be your championship leader, and for good reason. It's time to show you the full race results from both of our races here at Monza today. So let's get right to that, starting with race number 1. It was Matthew Mayer on top ahead of Francois Schink and Zachary Liebold. Liebold with his first podium of his career. Fantastic drive from him. Fantastic qualifying from him. Then you have D'Almeida, Hendricks, the other Zach, Bowman. They're never too far apart. Bowman P6, Bertolucci 7th, and Daniels winning the Delta class with an 8th overall finish ahead of McKenzie and Acatella. JB 2nd, and then you have Mitchell and Polasek 13th. Long finished off that Delta podium. Then you have Lynn, Trost, Darnell, McDonald, Rick Meyer, and Zepka rounding out the top 20. And then quite a bit of attrition from there. A few lap down cars, but in the end, you had 7 cars that looked like they did not finish that first race. On to the second race. Michael Polasek, a dominating victory from him. Matthew Mayer P2 today, and the big points winner from today's festivities. Logan McKenzie brings home that podium in 3rd place. Hendricks and D'Almeida round up the top 5. D'Almeida, Liebold, and Hendricks having a good pair of races there. Acatella there in 7th, Zepka 8th. Daniels wins the Delta class again, this time over Long. They're both in the top 10. Mitchell and Bertolucci separate them from the rest of the Delta class. Lynn on that podium. Thomas placing 4th in that race. And then you have Trost, Darnell, Marcel Thomas, Barber, McDonald, Kuo making a top 20 in their 2nd start officially. McAllister, Gilbert, Rick Meyer, and then Namaik. And then the attrition for race 2 was substantial. That looks like 11 cars by my count that did not make it to the end of this contest. Well, we will get your updated championship standings here shortly. 3 rounds left. Imola, Zolder, Bathurst. It will be down to the wire in the Delta class, and all it takes is one slip up from Polasek to make the Alpha class wide open. We will see you there. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.